Is it possible, Lane, if we could go around the room, since, it's like the second time we met in
I
person?
know some of us,
Lane probably knows
Yeah.
most of us, but.
last time we had to have introductions to people we've been working with.
Exactly, yeah. They only see them on WebEx.
So, yeah, let's do that, and we'll start with Devin.
That'd be good.
So Devin Wilter, I'm the business coordinator here at the airport. Been here about a year, so I'm also the secretary for the board. So I'm taking minutes.
And in voter.
The people at Memorial Park were not very happy with me because those blue chairs,
Yeah,
used to be Memorial Park and the poll workers used to get to sit in those. And now they don't have as comfortable a chair, so they're not happy with me.
yeah, as soon as that came on, they're available. I said, I'll take them.
That's right.
Mike Matthews, Airport Director.
Airport Authority.
Jump into the authority. Frank Henning, consultant with Mike Baker International. Service.
Diane Gibb, authority chair.
Lane Williams, manager. Andrew Bolin, RSH, civil engineering on-call consultant.
Keith Sanders, Alpha Orton. Chris Lauer, Polk Consulting.
David Asney, board member. Frank Tripp.
Very good. Welcome, everybody. Switch full, full house, huh? So, everybody got an agenda? Okay. So, as usual, we don't have a great deal on the agenda, but as previously sort of mentioned, we want to give most of our dedicated time to really trying to bring some closure to the strategic plan update endeavor that we undertook. And I'll be turning that over to Keith when we get to item 6. So now it's enough. And the next time we meet is going to be in late January. So we'll make some adjustments. We didn't skip November like moving children. It was a calculated decision. So, okay, so first item on the agenda, just flipping through some of the routine things. If you had a chance to look at the agenda, if there are any corrections or changes, if you didn't, take a quick look at them. I do have one right in the middle of the page. It's just a tiny item under capital improvement projects. The membership on that list on Mike's committee for the hangar lease. Proposals, Jeff's mentioned there. I wasn't sure whether you all are a member of that committee.
On the RFP?
Yeah.
No, no, it's not. It's David. Right.
Okay. Because I had mentioned that before, but I think it fell through the cracks, Gavin, when we were doing our edits. So if you can just make that change real quickly, Jeff. But that's the committee that Mike assembled. It's not an airport authority ad hoc committee. It's Mike's committee, which is different. Any other changes, corrections? Anything? Gavin does his usual thorough job, which makes it easier for us, So, okay, well, if we can have a motion then to adopt the minutes as is, except for that one change, removing Jeff Benjamin's name from the membership. So, thank you, Keith. Second? Mike? Great, okay. All in favor of adopting the minutes as is, except for that one correction? Aye. Objections? Abstentions? I had to ask. All right. Motion carries. Okay. Next item, Mike has his series of reports that we'll look forward to, so I'll turn it over to Mike.
Okay, thank you. Well, financial and operations report. We are still working with finance, and finance is working hard to get everything into Munis right now. We did contact them and we talked a little bit about our finances and what they have in there so far. And of course, we do have a point of sale here on the airport internally that we maintain, so we can print a lot of reports. But right now, we're still doing very good. And just preliminary, from looking at some numbers that finance has kind of given us, we want to think that we're 25% up on revenues over last year. And, of course, the Tennessee game was a tremendous game for us. That was 600 operations, about 160 aircraft, parked here. And, very busy weekend for sure. We had game day here. Um, and when you have game day and then everybody seems to come. And then, Arthur Blank, he'll come, seems once or twice a year. He came and took up some space with his jet. And we were being kind. We talked about this earlier. We were being kind, and trying to get them, a good spot, up close and so we did. We happened to have a nice spot right up front, it was available. Nobody was going to take it. So when they came, we parked them right there. But then one thing we did realize that they were running their APU the whole time, so it was noisy. So next time, we'll make sure we don't park them in the front, park them down a little bit so it's not too noisy. But it was crazy. That week we were telling everybody to be prepared for ground stops, possibility that you'll have to divert to another airport. And we just wanted everybody to be on the ready. And so I contacted all the airports around this area and basically told the airport managers, just to tell your folks, that you're probably going to get a wave of aircraft. And Winder actually did a good job. I think they got a shuttle van. They also had some catering there. They tried to do it upright and because they got a lot of aircraft. And so, I'm glad it worked out for a lot of the surrounding airports as well. We were at the max, so we knew right away we probably have to call FAA and get a ground stop. We thought the tower was going to do it. So that morning, Saturday morning, the tower told us, no, that's going to be on you guys. We're not going to do a ground stop. But if you think, that you can't handle any more aircraft, then you do a ground stop. So I got my office and I was looking at FlightAware and I was looking at what was coming in, and at what point we might have to have a ground stop. Next thing I knew, it was about 10:30 in the morning. FAA initiated a ground stop. And by doing all of that, I noticed that if you looked at, and I took a snap picture of it, but if you look at FlightAware in the map, and all the airplanes coming toward us, it was like World War II aircraft coming to bomb us or something. I mean, it was amazing. And then I realized what's going on. They did a ground stop because we're being inundated and they couldn't handle it, and so they initiated, which was good. And so that was at 10:30. Then they opened it up. And then they had another one at around 11:30, I think it was. And then they opened it up again, because what they basically did at the 10:30, they just told everybody, whoever's in the air, could come. But then if you were like in Chicago or somewhere and you hadn't taken off yet, then you had to wait. And there was from what I heard of some pilots, there was like a 3 to 5 hour wait before they could get back in the air or get in the air at all. And, but it turned out to be about a 2.5 in the end. So then they had the 11:30 stop. And then at that point, it was on us. And we were pretty much saturated as far as aircraft on the ground here. We had them everywhere. And our folks, I'm telling you, they did such a great job. Davin can attest to that. We always just praise our folks. We've got a part-time UGA student that has been with us for a while. And she did an amazing job coordinating where these aircraft will go. And these students are amazing, they really are. But she did a tremendous job. And so we got real close. I think we were about 40 to 50 aircraft that needed to come, that would probably, fill us up. But at that point in time, Arthur Blank's chief pilot, I was talking to her, for a couple of days. And he wanted to come in at like 1, and our thing was we were going to shut things down probably about 1. I think he wanted to come in at 1:30. And then there was no way he'd be able to come in. So I asked our operations, I said, let's be very careful and let me know. Just let me know. If we have to shut it down, we'll shut it down. Luckily, we were able to find room. I think we got another probably 40, 45 airplanes in here. He was able to get in between, because I told them, I said, listen, I said, you've got to make this. And what they were doing also was giving a 5-minute window, because when they took off from the airports, they had a 5-minute window to take off, and come to Athens. So it was very tight in everybody's part. According to the chief pilot, it's hard to get him going, I guess. And they were telling him, we gotta get out the door. We gotta get, we're gonna go. But anyway, they made it, and they made it on time. So it made it easy for us. And it all worked out. It just worked out perfectly. But it was an amazing day. And this is something, and I've asked, the old airport manager and others too, this airport's never seen anything like that. I thought, a couple of years ago, that the Notre Dame game and Texas A&M was it, it's kind of like all those. It was something, but I was so proud of everybody here. Everybody did such a good job. You want to add anything to that? Not for some of those weird folks.
Yeah.
Mike, just out of curiosity, have they put them on buses and or were they responsible for their own transportation?
Yeah, at one point in time, we were able to provide transportation. We tried to do that some last year as well, with some private, companies. And we charged $20 a ticket round trip, and it worked out fine. This year we didn't do it. We put on our website and Facebook, there would be no transportation. But really, honestly, with all that traffic, we had a few that asked about it, but nobody really said anything. I guess because of Uber, and they had their own transportation, and there's a lot of rental cars, of course, Hertz and Enterprise. Hertz sets up here in this room, and then, and so they just kind of, here in the car. Enterprise, that's also in here as well. So that works out very well too. We made some good money with, landing fees and ramp fees, if they didn't take fuel. Mostly for the corporate side. We don't charge any of that for the, general aviation. But that's just the norm.
So Mike, you book them at times when they think they're gonna land. You don't have them circled like they do in Atlanta.
Well, yeah, they were holding a good bit.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's not up to me. That's up to the tower and approach. Yeah.
And the people in Cedar Creek airspace, they don't know when you've got planes circling.
Well, we tell them to stay away from there.
It's an ongoing thing. There are people in Cedar Creek that think they have their own airspace. Planes, it's just an ongoing.
But, yeah, that's, it was quite the weekend, but it was a good weekend. Yeah, we definitely benefited from it. Now, as I was saying prior to the meeting, it's basketball season, and we do such a good job with basketball, revenue wise. Because now they're flying, well, ever since the runway was completed, they're flying the bigger jets, 737s. And of course, that means, more money on landing fees, more money on ramp fees, baggage fees, it's all based on, the information, it's all based on seats and how many seats are in that airplane. And that's, except for, that's the baggage and all of that, but the landing fee is based on weight, the weight of the airplane. So the heavier the airplane, so, the bigger, more revenue. So we're excited about, this year's basketball season. We hope that our revenue is definitely, benefit from that. So. Any questions on the finance and operations? Again, the financial, we do have, different things that I can provide you, which I'll send you in an email, is the traffic count. This month was 3,500, and that's about normal. That's about a normal traffic count. But I'll keep you in the loop as far as the financials. And I'm also, we changed it over on our point of sale from total FBO, which was an old system, to one called Atlas. We did that several months ago. So there's a lot of reports in that program that are good, but I'm not real familiar with yet because I haven't really delved into it. So there's probably some reports from that. I wouldn't say it's, anything, it's close. But, once accounting gets it, finance gets it, they add the depreciation, and they add this or that to it. But as far as, the true revenues, you can see that. As far as expenses, I won't have anything on expenses. But at least you can see what the revenues are and how we're increasing those on a monthly basis.
Capital, and let's see, capital improvement project updates.
So, we still, are working on the Alpha project. The localizer project is pretty much done, we've got all of that done. It's, and I think I reported last time that what we're waiting on now is another flight check, because when it was flown, it was noted that the VOR, which is, for those out there, the round circular thing out there, that's the VOR that is a navigational aid that we have no control over. It's maintained by the FAA. And it has a DME on it, component to it, which is a distance measuring equipment. And so the localizer approach is a localizer DME approach. So that DME component is used for that localizer approach. Unfortunately, when they flew it, the DME was erratic. It wasn't to their satisfaction. So I got with the FAA and I said, can you look into that? They tweaked some things and hopefully that fixed it. But the reason I didn't initiate a flyby yet or a flyover is because now, well, they told me this prior, that they're working on grounding the VOR around it, and they're actually doing that now through December 15th. So that's why I didn't want to do that, because that interrupts it too. So once they get all that done, then we can get it flown with them. Hopefully, hopefully that thing will pass with the DME. And then we'll get the glide slope back on, and then we'll have a full ILS. So the full ILS is the glide slope and the localizer, and that's one approach. And then you could do without the glide slope and have a localizer approach, but you got to have the DME as well. So that's where we are on the localizer. The Alpha project, we have a meeting with the contractor tomorrow, as a matter of fact. And so we're going to talk with them, and we're going to come up with a direction on this project. And this will be a vital meeting. I think this will really pinpoint, what direction we want to go and how we want to move forward from there. So I'll definitely be letting you guys know where that stands. I'm actually going to be putting out an email to all of the authority members, and then also the tenants, because the tenants are really interested in knowing what's going on. And I was going to put it out last week, and I thought, the more important meeting is going to be tomorrow. This evening. So I'll hold off until probably Thursday and send that in. And then the 220 project, runway project, that's still slated for April. And I'll turn it over to Andrew, and if you want to talk a little bit about that.
Sure. On the 220 project. Yes, slated for April. I think with the flights we've been getting on football season and things like that. So the godsend with the contractors, let's push that timeline back with the challenges that have been had with Alpha. But it's getting submittals and things like that, make sure any of the long lead time procurement items are he's going ahead and working orders. So working with Snell so far has been pretty good. The contractor's been very responsive and communicative through email. So it's been encouraging. And we of course did the stormwater pollution prevention plan update as part of that project as well. And so our team member, Alec, met with Mike and his team here at the airport, did their training, and so all that as far as it's gone really well. And so that was a good part of the project.
So we're excited about that as well. The Roper project, tonight, the mayor and commission is gonna, vote on, a grant, to, help us fund that. But regardless, it was something that had to have been done. It was mandated by the FAA, and whether we got the grant or not, it's something that we have to do. Um, so, so we've been working on that as well. And it's been coming along very well, which I'm excited because FAA has been on us for a while, probably 2 years, I guess, I've been talking about this. Trying to find, different ways to do it. But by waiting, I guess it really turned out, this probably turned out to be the best way, you know? And so it all has worked out fine.
What part of the project that you're voting on tonight? I didn't know.
Yeah, so it's the runway obstruction free area and what,
What part of that are they?
oh, well, just the road fund, to get grant money to do the
Okay.
road project.
In June.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because, when we first were looking at it, it was like enormous amount of money because we were really, scope was big, we were trying to do a lot to it. And then we decided, all we really need is what the FA wants, and that's just knock some trees down, or not knock them down, but grind them down. And without serving any dirt. And so, and it's just small stuff too. It's brush and it's kudzu vines and stuff like that. And the ROFA, it just needs to be all bare, without any obstruction. And so, once we did that, then GDOT said, we can help. We couldn't help you when it was so big. We didn't have the money, but this is manageable. So that worked out fine. As far as marketing and outreach, the only thing I think of is I was invited to go to a GDOT reception last night at the Hilton Garden Inn. And every other year, the legislature gets together. They come to Athens actually every other year. I remember when they were here last time, and I participated in some things. But so I was invited to go to the GDOT reception. Got to talk to several legislators. Commissioner GDOT was there. Russell McMurray, talked to him a little bit, and it's just a good time to let everybody know that, hey, Athens Airport's here, and let them know all the good stuff we're doing. And some of the legislators I've known for a long time, so it's good to see them as well. And then some of the new ones that, I'm just kind of learning, getting to know what else to do. So that was a good outreach. Davin went with me too. Did we do anything else this morning?
I know we did, but.
Yeah, I know, it's like, I know we did too, I gotta write that down. But, yeah, so, that's that, and then the COVID update, we're meeting in person, right now, there's no change. I'm just happy we're all together.
Yeah, with nice roots.
Yeah. That's my report.
Okay, well, thank you. That's lots of good stuff. Questions, comments? Any of those?
So I will say on the taxiway alpha project, after Mike sends his email explaining everything, if anybody has any questions, reach out and I'll be happy to answer any questions. How did we get here? How do you know? Anything like that. So.
Okay. Thank you.
Will there be an updated timeline to one of them?
Probably not this meeting, but hopefully it'll be shortly thereafter.
Okay. Next item, Lexington Highway update. Not really an update, 1 sentence really. Derek Doster continues to keep us in the loop though, updates. They're still waiting on GDOT to give permission for them to go ahead on their sidewalk improvement projects. So I'm stuck waiting for that, but it remains interesting, as a reminder about it's a GDOT road, so they can't do anything without GDOT permission. And I haven't heard anything else about the intersection improvement projects. But you're kind of stuck because you're waiting for the tower, the new tower.
Well, and
location.
there's actually ways to come in. The tower was built over there,
Yeah,
because you can come in at the jail. And that's where the FAA comes in anyway,
Yeah.
to work on the deal. They can come around the jail where the fuel pumps are, and behind there. There's several different ways to come in that way.
well, have you talked to Derek about that? Okay.
Yeah, I sent him an email
Yeah.
and, yeah. Trying to keep him in the loop.
So the wheels turn slowly, but
Yeah, but they're doing, yeah, he's still.
They're
glad to see
doing-
him over there,
the real action is in the platforms.
Yeah.
Construction.
Yeah, exactly.
For everybody to see. So I'll just keep updating you, you know, he's very good at keeping us in the loop on that. So, any questions, comments, thoughts on that? Okay. New business, there wasn't any. We're still waiting on some things. I suppose it would be nice to have some brand new business in the area.
Yeah.
All right, and then we turn to the standing committees, probably Keith has done, let me reiterate, such a valuable job of taking the lead on all this, several iterations. He's asked for input loyally and incorporated back and forth with me, back and forth with Mike and all of you, so I think that's the next thing on the list. Keith, you've got the latest version, which you sent everybody. Darren, can you project the latest version? And then I'll let Keith discuss it, and actually, Mike, I guess it was just Friday, you sent us the updated capital improvement plan, so there might be things in that that you want to mention.
I can, sure.
Yeah,
And,
that
yeah,
if there's anything new or different that needs to be incorporated.
Exactly.
And right, Keith, over to you.
All right, Diana here, I think we list 4 different documents which we've reviewed in the past, but right now I think the focus is just on the latest strategic plan, unless anybody has any questions about the Clear Point document or
Yeah,
the ACC strategic plan document. We'll re-review those in October, so.
yeah.
Leave those.
And actually, Blaine, just for your verification, you see with the yellow highlighting there, we've already done a sort of preliminary alignment with the ACC plan.
So, thank you.
Where ours fits and where it doesn't, and it's kind of interesting, because most of ours, we can see some correlation.
Just as a quick review again, we, last couple of months, we had a process where we used the Athens-Clarke County Strategic Plan, also capital improvement plan document, Mike, that you've got, that you had at that point in time, where you've got an updated one to touch on good again. We reviewed and looked at the current strategic plan, well, the Clear Point document plans and all those. And then got input from all the members, and then in October, no, Jeff, you weren't here, but in October for our authority meeting, we went through it. It took pretty much close to 2 hours to go through.
Yeah.
Pretty nitty gritty about each one, and using this document that you see right here and referring to others. And we came up with this, pretty much finalized this document in the October meeting. So since then, we, had a few things, went back and forth with some folks, offline, through email and got input, and that's what this, covers here. So I don't know if I need to necessarily read through it all, but, Devin, are you able to, enlarge a little bit, there, just, even if we miss seeing the whole page, but just maybe go up, 1 or 2.
Bottom
Bottom right, you can zoom.
Yeah, where that's,
Just above your time.
Yeah, I got you.
yeah. Up, oh. Yeah, there you go.
Slider.
Slide.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. So as we go through, if anybody has any questions at all, but,
Technical difficulties.
So here we just had summary notes. One of the things that we wanted to do was just, we had a lot of abbreviations. Well, we had about a half a dozen abbreviations through the document. We just defined those since last time. And then it's organized again as you go through goal area 1, enhance the infrastructure per the capital improvement plan. And Mike, again, when we get done, just kind of touching base with this, if you can just maybe Davin, you can bring up capital improvement plan and go through that a little bit. I know that plan goes out well beyond the scope of this strategic plan, which matches the city's plan to go through 2025. But anyway, we'll touch on that in a little bit. So then again, we have each of the goal areas. Goal area 1.1 is repave and improve one-way street 220. And then we've got our specific initiatives. And then on each one of those, we set target dates as best that we know currently. For each of those, we're trying to be as specific about each initiative as possible. And Dan just kind of keeps scrolling on down. You got strategy 1, 2, clear obstructions, the ROFA that Mike was talking about earlier. 1, 3 is increased parking lot capacity, new parking lot. So you've got dates in there. Then 1, 4 is construct transient corporate hangar. We talked about hangars a fair amount of time in our October meeting and what we needed to look at doing during the scope of the time here through 2025. We, just as a note there, we intentionally in these goals exclude the tower project since that's not totally under the control of the airport, since it's a FAA project. So we don't want to have goals for the airport if we don't have full control. Then goal area number 2 is establish, schedule, and increase non-scheduled passenger and also air cargo service. We had a lot of discussion about this one and how to kind of break it down and word it in the October meeting. Then strategy 2.1 is to recruit and establish air service and work toward at least 10,000 annual passenger enplanements by December 2024. You know, we got some assumptions built in, of course, we're depending on airlines and some efforts we have. So you know, we've got that broken down in several initiatives. In strategy 2 at the bottom, provide enhanced charter services to increase enplanements by 50% from 3,000 to 4,500 by June of 21. And actually that particular goal has been achieved. So we've got some new initiatives still relate to that strategy 2. And just as a note, Mike may have additions to goal number 2 at a later date regarding EV charging and use of EV vehicles by the airport. That'll be later down the road. Goal area 3, again, if y'all have any questions here, speak up if anything in general. Goal area 3 is expand the general aviation experience. And our strategy 3.1 there is identifying enhanced facilities, products, services to retain and increase our customer base and increase annual operations to 50,000 per year. And that's assuming a commercial service, right, Mike? Is what you think that's included. So we've got some initiatives there. 3.1.2 is obviously pending commercial service. They have to keep rolling down a little bit. Then strategy 3.2 is to build hangars. We've got a backlog of what, Mike, now about 2 dozen. I think you said it's more than that now, actually a little wait list.
Yeah.
So we've got that as we've got some initiatives to help with that. Right now, we have to leave it as to be determined. Let's, Mike, I guess at this point, if you've got anything new that ties to the to be determined on these, especially from the capital improvement plan, we can update that in here. But as far as you know, anything on that, Mike, nothing really.
No, not right now. You know, at one point in time, we were trying to get some outside folks, and we still are.
Right,
I think
yeah.
it's a good idea.
Yeah,
You know, when the price of metal went up, they kind of backed off, and they really didn't want to invest a lot into that. You know, it's a possibility of us, you know, getting a small interest loan. And then maybe the consultants can tell me, but you know, I've heard that GDOT is looking to get some money for some hangars. Have you heard anything about that? Didn't we hear something at the GIA meeting or something?
They talked about implementing it. I haven't seen it there.
Okay.
Yeah, it didn't sound all that promising to me. It's like, we're gonna try, but
Yeah,
it hasn't been,
so we probably won't see that for a while, but okay.
um,
I won't put my eggs in that.
yeah.
All right. But yeah, so I'm still working
Yeah.
on that.
so we have to keep that as to be determined. We try to be as specific as we could, but some of these we got to give that status. Goal 4, inform and connect the community, business, and customers. This area, we do have a fair number of to be determines in there. Maybe some further discussions as we kind of revise those at the time and try to tie those down. We wanted to get at least placeholders in here since those are important things. Strategy 4.1 is published annual report, by the ACC deadline. I think that was a goal prior, and I know Devin, you and Mike have got that pretty much in full control after last year. And then strategy 4.2 is implement strategies for marketing, community outreach, and engagement. So we got a number of things there that are to be determined. A lot of efforts, a lot of these do, if you, Deb, you scroll just backwards just a bit to the heading there where it has the highlight, the heading for that goal. Yeah, right there. So we've got a lot of number of Athens-Clarke County goals that this potentially supports. Mike and I, we just met on this a month and a half ago. Anything with any of those, especially in the 4.2, that you would want to speak to now that, let's see, to this point?
Yeah, probably not. How about now?
Okay.
I guess I'll just interject,
Yeah, Diane.
I mean, I've spent so many years on strategic plans. One of the things I just wanted to voice is a sort of a little caution about TBD, because if you look across this document, we've got 7 initiatives as TBD out of all of the collection, so it looks unbalanced. I mean, it's fine if you really can't pin it down to anything, but in general, it's just not ideal to have TBD. It can actually at worst be looked at as padding and window dressing, like, well, oh, that's nice, but when are you gonna do it?
And a lot of
If
it's
you
gonna be
can't
on.
find the sky, sort of pull a, timeframe out of your hat, but if possible, or in honesty, if there are things in there that, are now not really part of the sincere intent, they should come out.
Yeah, I agree.
They shouldn't be left in there, for people to take pot shots at. So I'm just a bit concerned about, I understand if they are necessary. I mean, if you look further back, Davin, can you scroll up? I think it was under goal 2, there was 1 TBD. Yeah.
Yeah, goal timing to be determined.
Research alternatives to the traditional legacy carriers. But if you look at goal 4, then there's a whole bunch of them. And goal 4 is the one that deals with the community. And I think the point that Keith has just made is important, and that is there's a whole slew of ACC goals and initiatives that match our goal for engaging the community. And we know that that's also the area that, certain officials or people have criticized about the airport, that it doesn't basically cater to anybody other than a small elite at the airport. And what about the community? So I'm not comfortable with strategy 4.2 having nothing but TBD there for people to say, oh, well, that's nice.
And remember though, this is a draft, so these TBDs
Yeah.
go away.
So if.
Because we can plug things in, and it can be accurate, pretty close to accurate. A lot of this will be ongoing.
Or if they have been initiated in any way, we could add the initiation date.
Well, and a lot of them have, like the
Yeah.
newsletter, the social media engagement,
Yeah,
all of that.
and we have tried to start pursuing partnerships with economic development agencies or with like Athens-Clarke.
Yeah.
So
So all I gotta do is plug it in.
yeah, I think we need to do something to actually clean up those TBDs.
That'd be easy.
Or remove the item. If in honesty, it's no longer on the agenda.
It seems like they're ongoing, not so much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, maybe if nothing else, we could try and say in honesty when they were initiated and what the plan is, if it's gonna
You
be
could do that.
tentative, the next couple of years or not.
But then like Eric says, keep it ongoing so that, it doesn't look like it's just an old initiative and it
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
needs to come off. Because if it's ongoing, put the, initiated date and then just say ongoing. or something.
It's a flag, okay?
Yeah.
In the business, of strategic plans, TBD is a flag for people looking,
Yeah, and I think we put that on there just as a draft, just to say we need to come back and address that.
Okay, and then, Evan, just scrolling down a little bit, 4.3 there is pursue aviation and training educational partnerships. We've kind of been connected with Athens Tech in relation to that a little bit, but, so there's another TBD we need to tie in. Last one is goal 5, last goal area 5, achieve and maintain financial self-sufficiency. So this is one kind of an ongoing goal, I guess, important. Strategy there is basically just to maintain a revenue neutral status from ACC for operating expenses by primarily increasing operating revenue. And our initiative primarily is continue to perform equal to or better than budget each year. I'm going there. And if y'all remember too, kind of time what Diane was saying is that this document, we'll use this at least once a quarter to follow up on these. So we'll take one of our, each quarterly authority meeting, we'll have it as our agenda item to go through this with Mike and everybody. And then, and potentially update it. I know, Mike, you said ClearPoint can potentially be updated roughly once a quarter. I mean,
Oh, yeah,
we
yeah,
have
as
that
often as we need
change
to.
if we
Yeah.
really need to, yeah. And then whatever we change here, we want to change associated with ClearPoint.
Exactly, or if something changes on a daily basis, that will go in and
Yeah.
change it.
Yeah,
And that way, when ACC management wants to look at it, everything's up to date.
right.
You know, as it needs to be.
And also, as we said, in addition to once a quarter full review of the whole list of goals and strategies, in addition to that, if we have something that was a specific initiative that something was due, say, in the middle of a quarter, we would talk about that in an authority meeting.
Yes,
And
yes.
give updates then too. But we'll at least review everything once a quarter. So just in general, anybody, I know just about everybody in this room's worked with goals and so forth. Any, Diane had some good input there. Any concerns, any other final input before we kind of,
We're back.
yeah, we want to talk about the CIP in a second too. Anything just about the general? Blaine, while you're here, you want to speak or mention anything about this as we're trying to tie it to the city goals and what our process is? And
Well, it's clear that y'all have taken this seriously, and I want to thank y'all. This is a fantastic job. The extra step to link it back to the mayor and commission strategic plan is fantastic. You know, it does a number of things all at once, so it provides this group with some, you know, commonality as far as work plan, and maybe informs some of the things the chair assigns the subcommittees to take care of. It certainly lets the mayor and commission as the folks that appoint you and also provide resources partially as to what's happening in there. And if you think about it, we have 44 different governmental units that are operating all over the place. So this is very helpful to do this. Obviously, GDOT can see what we're up to if they need to. Our customers, our businesses that want to try and plug in, it gives them something to go to say, what's going on in here and what we're working on. Common platform for all y'all. Just as importantly though, for the employees, you know, we can raise pay and we can raise benefits, but if somebody feels tired of their work and they understand the relevance of what they do every day and feel useful about it, this is a good way to do that. So I applaud what you've done here. ClearPoint, y'all, I know is a little bit of something to get used to, but it is a medium in which we put all the different strategic plans across the government together. And we want to make that transparent to the public. They want to know what's happening, what's working, you know, if we are able to do it on a quarterly basis. And there are metrics there. I appreciate the metrics you baked in here. We've all heard that old adage, what gets measured gets done. And it's clear that y'all are taking this seriously. I couldn't be more pleased with this. I think it's a great thing. If your comments notwithstanding.
Well, I think that gives us direction for where, you know, the thing about all of those in goal 4 is there are a set of things that we can all look forward to, and they can be things that members of the community look forward to. I think that it warrants some effort to say, well, let's firm them up or clarify so that can be. And I think, you know, when we get to the next little sub point on the agenda, Keith will also, you know, we need to look at the issue of reconciling the ClearPoint version with this, because there's more detail in this. But I think we can easily make sure that we incorporate those details in goal 4 without lengthening the ClearPoint version too much. But then what Keith will talk to the group about the issue of what's the destination for this as a product? Or is it just going to stay as a working internal document with us?
So, and that actually, as a matter of fact, I may just kind of turn that over to Mike. Yeah, that's, I don't want to, we got to come back to, well, since you brought that up, Diane, we need to come back to the ACIP, the capital improvement plan under AI there, but to bring that up, Diane, Mike, on AI2 there, update AHN strategic plan, publication distribution plan. While we got everybody together, how do you see that work and what happens
And that's the publication you're talking
Yeah,
about,
right, yeah, that Blaine mentioned is, the clear points potentially available to the community and all that.
Yeah.
So what happens, you know,
So
Yeah.
what we see is that once we determine the strategic plan and the route we want to go with that, then we'll take, of course, we can't put everything that's in our strategic plan on the clear point because there's only, it's limited. And they don't want a whole lot of, we just have to make sure that it's clear, concise, and kind of bullet points. So we'll take that and we'll put it in and make sure that it still is accurate. If it's not, then we'll change it, to reflect our strategic plan. And so that going forward, the clear point will reflect what we've got. Area.
So this is a new habit, right?
Yes.
The difference between being an effective organization that strategically executes, you have to make it part of your habit. Otherwise, that's what everybody always says, and collects dust on the shelf.
Yes.
But if this is part, y'all got a great start. If you make this part of your habit, allude to it, it's your plan of action. Obviously, things are gonna come up that aren't in there, and you have to respond to those. But with ClearPoint and staff's help, I think if we make it part of our habit, then it's not gonna be that hard.
And then we'll print it off when we meet every, on the third quarter, we'll print it off and you can look at it. And you can see it anytime too. But if you say, well, this is, let's make it this, let's do
Right.
this, we'll do.
we can adjust.
Yeah,
like I
and
said.
you'll have input, that's what I'm trying to say.
Is there, no, we've got the annual report, is the airport strategic plan in any way, is that gonna be published? In any
At one point
distribution
in time,
from the airport, or
At one point in time it was, and we can
Yeah.
do that again,
Yeah.
if you'd like.
just kind of posing, does that make sense?
We
Is that,
can, or we can incorporate it into the annual report as well,
Yeah.
save a little bit of money, and that would be good too.
Because you used to hand these out as a pair. There was the annual report and then there was this. And I know we all got, a copy of each,
Yeah,
but it costs money to print it. But the other thing is, we can incorporate the detail that's in our strategic plan working document in sufficiently concisely to be in clear point, since they are restricted. But I think a lot of those in goal 4, I'll be more than happy to collapse them into one concise statement,
yeah.
but get the ideas in.
Well, and this was,
Then, this would be a product that you could actually, if you could print it off, have it to hand out, but then this has got pictures in it, it's got a message from you, the director, a message from the chair. Is that? the
well, and you
product
make
that
a
we
good
wanna
point.
have?
See, what I was gonna say was, we have ClearPoint, really,
Yeah.
that was prior to ClearPoint, now we've
Right.
got ClearPoint. But talk about pictures and,
Yeah.
that is, pictures aren't in ClearPoint, so.
Yeah,
I'm up to, I don't know about a separate one, I would probably include it in the.
yeah, you've got the section in there about the future and the annual report, and this gives some specifics, and I can see real specifically
Yeah, I would
bullet
combine.
points if, if anybody got any thought, Mike, I think you kind of asked him, does everybody think?
Yeah, that's kind of my
posing
take. I
that
would
question.
combine it, but I'm open for suggestions.
Put it in the annual report, and some of y'all may not have seen last year's, Jeff, you've seen. it.
Yeah, I got.
Yeah.
yeah.
Board, I think, yeah, makes sense to kind of consolidate that, just from a financial.
Seems like it would, yeah.
And you still like to hand them out, you might have some.
We do. It's something that, when I go to Rotary or I speak somewhere else, it's something I can hand out and they can physically look at and we can talk. So it is helpful. Yesterday, I would have brought you, Will, when we get it updated, just a hand.
So I guess we're saying, include the goals and strategic plan in with the annual report. Like your.
How y'all?
Is that something, I think we don't need a vote on that, but we could sort of obtain consensus. I would like to see, but I think there's
Yeah.
merit in a nice hard copy to promote the airport to potential clients and customers, to community members, to leaders,
Believe it or not, GDOT likes to see stuff like that.
yeah.
Of course, I send it all for them, that way.
Now, there's another angle, and that is putting it up on the website.
We do that, we put it on the
Yeah.
website, and that'll be, that's just a given. We'll definitely have nothing.
And then I was gonna say, if there isn't money to print it off with nice pictures and glossy paper, we've got a copy of the ACC one.
Yeah.
That was distributed electronically. which you could still put pictures in and just format it, you know, we could work on that.
Yeah, we'll do it just like that one.
Yeah.
We still got the printer. We've got money to do it, so.
Um,
And I like it. I like it. It looks professional. It looks good. You know, when hand it out, you want it to look good.
So that's, Grant, you in agreement, combine it with DA action?
Gotta make sure that they're consistent.
Yes, that's true too.
Dave, what do you think?
I agree.
Okay, great. Yeah. Anybody else? I think that's great, yeah, I mean, I think of the amount of work that we put in, and like, you know, I said earlier, Keith took the lead on this in a most earnest manner. And we all did.
Done a good job, Pete. You really have.
It's-
Much appreciated.
And I think a product, not just a document that we use internally, but an actual product that you can be proud of and say, oh, here it is, you know.
Yeah.
It was worth a great deal, and an electronic equivalent of that as well.
So I think then we covered that. So to go back to the capital improvement plan, I think we wanted to, Mike and David, I don't know if you can again zoom us a little bit there.
Anybody want-
Probably can't much. What did we miss?
Suggestions?
Mostly on the title and,
Under the L in local or
oh, where'd it go?
up, it's up on the top, up on the top left.
There we go.
There you go.
Thank you, Dr. Asman.
You got it.
Is that
Maybe a little bit more.
Can you,
Yeah.
That's good. Nobody see that?
so and Mike, just before you start there, so the requested year, the date in there,
Right.
and again, kind of, since we're tying this in with strategic plan, strategic plan is 23 through 25. That requested year, is that, what's the definition of that?
So that's actually when we, put in a request for that project. And, and correct me if I'm wrong, consultants, but like 2022, that's when we actually, and these are the ones we're currently doing now, Taxway Alpha and then also the road fund. So we requested those, and is that when we did like the pre-application? Chris, is that what that year would be? Or is that when we kind of, I don't know,
A fiscal year.
fiscal year? Okay, so when we requested the money, that's the fiscal year.
So then it doesn't correspond to the dates we have in strategic plan, which is a proposed end date for the project.
I would use these things, because that's what GDOT and FAA are using.
So when it first begins,
You talking about the project begins?
yeah, I mean,
What
like,
do we have for
our
these?
target dates we've got in this document down here, that's when the goal is to finish them.
Yes, okay, so,
So that's not the
and
same
it
date.
could be the same year that it finishes, it could be the next year.
Okay,
Yeah, but we can all get together on that.
yeah.
We'll look at that. And make sure it coincides. Um,
Can you explain, just out of interest, the national priority? I just find those interesting, you know, where you are, also the.
well, okay, the national priority, yeah, and the consultants can probably help better explain this, but my understanding is that the FAA has a priority as to what's most important to be done on an airport as far as safety goes. It might be fencing is important, the runways to be, you know, in good shape is important, so they prioritize this. Is that right? Am I saying that right?
Yeah, safety, and then it goes down, you know, revenue producing is like. So it's calculated, so if you dive into the Black Cat program that GDOT is using, you have categories and subcategories for your project. And then there's a formula associated with these categories that give NPR ranking.
So these are all big numbers, eh? 70, 90, 40.
Yeah, the higher priority it is. And so that's what FAA evaluates on our criteria of awarding a project. So.
Is it a ranking or is it a rating? Is it, could there,
Is it like from 1 to 100 or?
yeah,
It is.
Okay.
100's the most important.
Okay.
so the airport priority is the opposite of that, is that right, Mike? You kind of got them ranked?
Yeah, so I got them the opposite. I got like number one's the most important, number two.
Yeah, okay.
And, yeah, and this particular form is what the GDOT has. This is in their application called Black Cat. So this is what is in their form, in their application. So when they pull up our projects, this is actually what they see.
And I don't know, Diane, were you thinking we need to go through all the line items?
No.
Or just kind of.
Especially, I'm just think for our own understanding, what we're looking at, like they've also got allocated year. So I
Yeah,
presume that's the year, those are the years when they allocated funds.
right. Yep.
So I'm just
And-
trying to reconcile between what we got, because we got target dates when you hope to complete things.
Well, again, I
Which are
wouldn't,
different.
I wouldn't stress over the dates. We can figure the dates out.
Yeah.
So we'll get together and figure all that out. Because these dates are gonna change.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, the CIP is a wish list. If you think of it like a wish list, it's nothing in concrete. I mean, this might change next year to the very back. I mean, consider it to be more like a wish list, and what FAA sees, like if the FAA comes and inspects me, in July, and he'll say, Mike, you need to get this done. Well, I have that like way back here and I didn't plan on doing it, but then he's saying I need to get it done. That baby's gonna be moved up to, top spot. So then things will change there too. So it's more of a wish list, and I would really not worry about the years, I guess, because I would just kind of refer to it and then we try to get it really, really,
Yeah.
close.
I was just going to ask, as kind of a preview with this, or from what you know with the CIP list there, is it anything stand out as way different? I didn't see anything that did versus our strategic plan that we just put together.
I'll look at that and make sure, but I don't,
Okay.
okay, yeah.
It seemed like the priority ranking for like the parking lot is low.
Yes,
So
it
we
did.
shouldn't
Yeah.
expect GDOT relief or something like that real soon. Right?
Well, that's something I'm working on. Let's see, in looking at this.
Can we point out how unsafe our current parking lot is to?
We want additional parking because there is no parking. And with me working to get air service development, we'd have to really scramble to find some parking. But you're right, see, in 2024, of course, that's the FA fiscal year, for the state. But, we want to do design and construction in that year. One thing that's really, really low is the airfield fencing. See, that's 2025. And that's design and construction. And I really need to bump that up. But right now, I'm going to leave it 2025. Next year, it'll probably be bumped up. And I'd like to get at least design going on that. So even though it's on here, things will change as the FA or GDOT says, hey, we got some money. Let's go ahead and do this. That's when it'll change. And who knows, it could be tomorrow I might get a call, say, hey, we got the money, go ahead and start doing this.
So Mike, that airfield fencing project there, does that fall within the ROFA? Which is separate?
No, it doesn't anymore. At one point in time on the CIP, I
Yeah,
had the roper project / fencing project.
yeah,
And I was trying, and Chris was helping me, we were trying to get that done as a one whole project.
mhm,
But then FAA said, listen, you gotta get that roper done.
yeah,
We're gonna,
okay.
I'm not gonna give you more time, you gotta get that roper done or else. And so Chris and I determined, we're not gonna get any money for
Mhm.
fencing right now. So, we decided, let's just take that fencing out and let's just concentrate on that roper project, get it done and out of the way.
Okay,
So that's kind of where we are with the roper. Thank goodness things are moving, but the FAA gave me till the end of this month. Of course, they've been working with me real good. If it doesn't happen the end of this month, they'll be fine with it. It's down the road. But it's working out real well. I think, I really do think it'll be done in time for their deadline.
One
So we
more
have.
question.
No, you're good. That's me.
We just have too many questions. It's nerves. I remember when I first joined the authority, and Chris gave us an overview over here on the board and everything, what happened over the project. And I see them up there, because some are design, and some are construction, or some are combined, so they're like two layers. design first, construction next. That's not something you want to build into the your strategic plan. You want to just.
Probably not. You mean as far as identifying design and
Yeah, just that in two phases always.
change a lot? I don't know, we could, let's talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just asking, because
It's
some of them are
possible.
both, some are
And the
separate.
really the ones that we could really put on there that I feel confident about, that we need to do,
Mm,
are the parking lot and the fence.
mm. Okay.
Because the ASD, you know, talk to Grant, you know, we need a parking area, additional parking lot. And so, you know, where we have here this hill, right next to the one we have, you know, that one, in front of the commercial terminal. We need to put one next to it, like in this room for it. And we really, really need that. And then the fencing is something that FAA is really honest about. And, you know, we have wildfire. And we need some good fencing. The east side of the airport has some good fencing. South side, not so much. And then, well, I guess south all the way, it's not so much. So that's something that we're putting on top priority. So probably you have to do all. We'd like to do it all one time. I think, I mean, since you have the resources here. Yeah, I think the FAA would probably prefer that the grant, give us a grant for the whole project instead of phase.
Usually phase, more expensive.
Oh, yeah.
Because contractor mobilizing multiple times.
Yeah, that's
And
good.
also, you know, how much materials are they buying? When you buy larger, you usually get a cheaper price.
Do they want a 6-foot fence or an 8-foot?
10 foot.
10 feet? Do you?
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes they bury in the ground. That's a true wildlife fence.
Only comment about adding these to the plan is that we be careful because candidly, some of this is bush list.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe what strategy.
Yeah, and that's
I
the
think
thing,
you
that's
could
what's
just add every year a couple of things that have been working. I think so much of this is really how we're going to counties control some of the stuff that is
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I hate to kind of, because this thing changes all the time, then we'd have to change our plan all the time. I don't want to have to do that. Like, it's just a lot of work.
Right, once the funds are allocated, we are doing those projects.
Yes,
Right?
exactly.
So I would just keep it that succinct.
Okay.
You know, these are the items.
That's
you know.
good. That's fair.
And then, you know, if we wanted to digitally go to a detail of all of the things in consideration, I wouldn't, this is way too specific.
I don't think you can include those strategic items that you're gonna get commercial air service, even parking lot, even parking by the state. Some of the larger projects. For operation.
Like, it's a point, you know, like ASD or service development, you know, we're hoping by 2024, you know, so if that's the case, I guess parking lot. would be- Haven't finished.
Mike, anything else? Or anybody, any other questions on this CIP list for now? Or Mike, anything else you want to bring to attention to the folks here?
No, I just wanted to bring up the parking lot and the air and the fencing. And let you know, of course, top part is just what we're doing now. So that's really all I'm gonna mention.
So you want to take another look at it and just be sure that what we've got.
Yes, I will do that.
That's so. What we want to do. Okay. So anything else, Keith? I guess
No.
we've got sort of, we're approaching a number of next tasks then.
Yeah, I think the next one's gonna be to get this into ClearPoint, make it official and all. And as well as into the annual report, which is gonna be,
Coming up.
yeah, coming up soon.
Work on the TBD
Yeah,
stuff.
and then,
Yeah.
right, yes, TBD stuff.
And then
also,
also, a lot of it is on.
have our plans where we follow up on these items, so. Anything else? Yes?
Well, no, I think we can list those formally or informally.
Yeah, I think
Action items.
probably want to be on our
When
minutes.
you get to the clear point revisions, Devin, if you're going to do those, I'll be happy to work with you on some of that. There's too much verbiage in those goal 4 initiatives that can be really pared down into one concise statement. These are a couple of them. Okay? So
That'd be helpful.
I think we've got a clear set direction there. And what's the time frame for the annual report?
Well, I gotta get some financials.
That's going to be in several months, isn't it?
I don't know. Let me find out.
Okay. All right, well, thank you, everybody. And as I said, I think we've all had a chance, to chip in our 2 cents worth and keep things again forward.
Yeah, thank you, Keith.
Keep
Good
moving
job.
forward, yeah. Okay. Anything else before we move out of that update? We do have 2 other committees. I don't know if there is any update from the other 2 committees.
Nothing out of operating.
You'll let us know as we move forward for the next meetings, okay? Well, believe it or not, then, the last item is other business, and it's just for me to mention, the next meeting is scheduled, we stick to the normal date, will be the 24th of January. So after the holiday season. My plan would be very shortly after New Year. So in the first few days of January is to write to each of the members of the authority about the election. According to the bylaws, every year, chair and the vice chair need to be elected. Devin, our royal secretary, remains. Not off the hook, they're staying. So I'll write to each of you individually and ask for your interest, or lack of it, to stand for chair or vice chair. At that point, I will also make my position known, Keith will make his position known. And let me know, and I think I'll peg a deadline date of the 15th of January so that we know in good time before that meeting what the slate is, who's running and who isn't. And so short of that, if there's nothing else, hopefully we'll have a happy holiday season. Any other business?
Motion to conclude.
Do I have a motion? Just finding more work. Second? Yeah, okay, all in favor of wrapping it up? Objections? Nobody's allowed to object. Thank you. And good to see you.
Yes.
Glad you come today.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Happy holidays and New Year.
Yeah, happy holidays.
Cheers. Good seeing everybody too.
Yeah.
Let's get back there.
Well, January, February. February. January, I'm not sure yet, but yeah.
Yeah, no, that seems like a good,
Here.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah,
I have a,
it's good to see you.
actually know a guy who does that.
Thank you.
Hey, what's that like?
Well,
Yeah,
it's the 10th.
Yeah, this is good.
Okay.
Who's
All right.
doing the flooring? And do you need these?
I don't know the specific subcontractor.
Yeah, I'll make sure.
It's a prime contractor. There, right?
There's a guy. Saying out of Cleveland. Just did my restaurant kitchen, dishes, coating. He's typically in concrete and coating, so
For a number of years.
phenomenal. And he does.
Now.
So, when can I come to your anchor?